Plug Monster by Gareth Lancaster. The gurgling, burbling Plug Monster is waiting to slurp up your bath. Skulking below in the bowels of the drain, it belches its bubbling wrath, biding its time till you pull out the plug. Watch out, or it nibbles your feet. The terrible, blubbering beast there within is something you don't want to meet. A globulous mass of sunny shampoo. It gilds dirty water with glee, then shiftily checks for the presence of toes, and with luck, the occasional knee. So take heed and beware as you finish your soak, and ensure that you keep your legs clear. Let it swig till it's full. Hear it grumble and moan, and despondently then disappear. The Wormy Spaghetti, an extract from The Twits by Roald Dahl. At 1 o'clock she cooked spaghetti for lunch, and she mixed worms in with the spaghetti, but only on her husband's plate. The worms didn't show because everything was covered with tomato sauce and sprinkled with cheese.
"Hey, my spaghetti's moving!"
cried Mr. Twit, poking around in it with his fork.
"It's a new kind,"
Mrs. Twit said, taking a mouthful from her own plate, which of course had no worms.
"It's called squiggly spaghetti. It's delicious. Eat it up while it's nice and hot."
Mr. Twit started eating, twisting the long tomato-covered strings around his fork and shoveling them into his mouth. Soon there was tomato sauce all over his hairy chin. "It's not as good as the ordinary kind," he said, talking with his mouth full.
"It's too squishy."
"I find it very tasty,"
Mrs. Twit said. She was watching him from the other end of the table. It gave her great pleasure to watch him eating worms.
"I find it rather bitter," Mr. Twit said. "It's got a distinctly bitter flavour."
"Buy the other kind next time." Mrs. Twit waited until Mr. Twit had eaten the whole plateful. Then she said,
"You want to know why your spaghetti was squishy?"
Mr. Twit wiped the tomato sauce from his beard with a corner of the tablecloth.
"Why?"
he said.
"And why it had a nasty bitter taste?"
"Why?" he said.
"Because it's worth worms!"
cried Mrs. Twit, clapping her hands and stamping her feet on the floor and rocking with horrible laughter. Empty House by Gareth Owen. I hate our house when there's no one in. I miss my family and I miss the Dean. The rooms and the hallway seem cold and bare, and the silence hangs like dust in the air. What's that sound upstairs that makes me start, driving fear like an icicle through my heart? I'm imagining things. There's nobody there. But I have to make sure, so I creep up the stair. I stand holding my breath by the bedroom door and hear something rustling across the floor. Then a scratching sound, a tiny cry. I can't seem to breathe. My throat is dry. In the silence I hear my own heart beating and the rumble of water in the central heating. I should go in, but I just don't dare. So I call aloud, "Is anyone there?" Nobody answers. I push open the door. A fluttering shadow crosses the floor. And now I see him, now understand. And I gather him gently in my hands. I won't hurt you, my friend. Don't flutter, don't start. But his body beats wild like a feathered heart. Out through the window, watch him wheel and fly, carrying my fear across the sky. The Poet by Nectaceris. Mom, I'm trying to do my homework. Tell her to go away. I have to write a poem and she just wants to play. Thanks, Mum. The clown's name was Buzzo and he... No, get lost! He travelled all around the world and many seas he crossed. Mom! She's jumping on my bed again. Now she's on my chair. She hit me with a pillow and there's feathers everywhere. Mom! Now stay out! Thanks, Mom. Where did I get to? Buzzo loves adventuring and one dark night. Now what shall I use to rhyme with night? Oh yes! He had a great big fright. I know what I'll write. He walked into a pirate's cave and saw a body hung. And as he backed out quietly, he... Mom! She's back again! And sticking out her tongue. Look, you're 7 years old. Do as you are told. How can I create? If you don't get right out of here, you won't be turning 8. I won't hurt you, my friend. Don't flutter, don't start. But his body beats wild like a feathered heart. Out through the window, watch him. A fluttering shadow crosses the floor. And now I see him. Now understand. Take 3. I push open the door. Take 4. And now I see him. Now understand. And damn. I won't hurt you, my friend. Don't flutter, don't start. But his body beats wild like a feathered heart. Out through the window. But how about I just close my eyes a bit so I don't really see the bird? Out through the window, watch him wheel and fly, carrying my fear across the sky. On your marks. The gurgling, burbling, pluck hole monster is waiting to